I mean, he was the coolest character in the entire film.
Chris Carthorne with Cosplay Alliance. As you can see, I'm in my Miles Spider-Punk cosplay, and I am here with Afua Richardson, who happened to work on the artwork on Across the Spider-Verse for Spider-Punk. How are you doing?
Tired because BlerdCon is a party nonstop. Nonstop.
I can agree, and I missed the Spider-Verse shoot this morning because of that.
Oh no!
It's unfortunate.
Oh, no.
Now, my two favorite Spider-Man characters of all time are Miles Morales and Spider-Punk. And the design on Spider-Punk was just incredible, and they stuck to what makes Spider-Punk Spider-Punk. How does that make you feel to be a part of such an epic character?
But first, it's an honor. I mean, he was the coolest character in the entire film, even though he was featured the least. But it kind of left you wanting more, and in the next series, which will probably be out in about another 3 years, great things take time. You're going to get more into his background, where he's from, what he stands for, and what he's fighting for. But in working on the project, I got to review Sanford Green's designs. He was the one who really went in and just added this really gritty, 90s punk, Afro-punk look to Hobie. And when I was interviewing for the project, I spoke with one of the directors, and I said, as you're describing this to me, like, this really takes me back to when I was a teenager in New York City, going to CBGBs, going to raves, going to Outlaws, going to hip-hop clubs, going to jazz clubs, just going to all of these different venues where music was alive and pumping. But, like, the punk scene, the metal scene, like, it was a lot different than what people think. Like, it sounds aggressive, it sounds like a dangerous place, and certainly not a place for a black woman to be. But you're in the mosh pit, people are dancing. If somebody fell, if somebody dropped their glasses or a contact, people would stop. They'd be like, hold on, oh, wait. Somebody dropped something, or like if someone was in danger, somebody passed out, somebody needed water, they were there. They were a community. And Hobie is someone I know. There are people that we know, both British and American, who are black, who that represents. And to see that sort of reverberate out, as soon as I saw the design, I was like, oh, guys, this is it. I'm excited to be on this one. I'm excited. I'm super excited. And I really had to dig in a little bit. I had to kind of go outside of my comfort zone. And when I started, I was very anime, graffiti-esque, and very messy, lots of traditional mediums. And I started learning to use vectors to change how I worked, to work for Marvel and DC and have more of a traditional comic book aesthetic. But for this, they were kind of pulling me back to where I came from, and I'm like, okay, I've got to get messier, I've got to get grittier, I've got to tear up paper. I tore notebook paper and crumbled it up and scanned it and started drawing on top of it for this cover. So if you see the Spider-Verse, or if you've seen it like many of us have, when Hobie appears on the screen, a comic book will drop. That is my artwork that I am proud to say that I've created for the Spider-Verse. And
here we go.
Here it is right here.
Got my print. Colors pop. It is a great work. Amazing.
Thank you so very much.
And I'm told that you're a singer.
I am.
What was your favorite song in the movie? Do you have a favorite song?
I don't know if I do. I don't know if I have a favorite song in the movie. The movie was just so overwhelming. I want to go back and see it a few more times. I
had to see it multiple times myself. I probably will see it a few more times.
Have you seen both versions? Did you get to see?
No, I've only seen one version.
I've only seen one. I'm hunting for the next, but I hear there are two versions out there, and I can't wait to see it.
And I also want to ask you about one of my favorite shows, LoveCraft Country, which you also worked on. Such an amazing, it should have won all these awards, and it should have been a second season, but how was that experience working on that as a black woman?
It was an incredible production. First, it was the first time I was on a movie set. They filmed it in Atlanta, and it was executively produced by J.J. Abrams and, I'm drawing a blank.
Jordan Peele.
Thank you, Jordan Peele. Sorry, guys. It's been a long weekend. But Misha Green was the woman who was on the ground and doing the hiring process. And I worked with JP Jones, who was the stunt, not the stunt, the everything that the actors touch that was not wardrobe. He was the props master. And so I mentioned to you earlier, he brought me backstage, not backstage, there are these giant rooms where every set was built, from the bar to the church to the apartment, built. And he stopped me while I was walking through and taking some of the Arithia Blue comics, which I designed, and all of the illustrations that young Dee created. She hand drew, I drew them, and I worked with her to draw so that when she was continuing the lines, it looked more natural. But he stopped me at one point when we were going through a set and said, Afua, I want you to look around right now. And I didn't really know what I was looking at. He was just like, you will never see this many brown faces behind the camera as you do right now. I want you to stop and take a look at this, because this is special. This right here, it was an amazing production, from the book binding to the graphs, all the tools, everything was made, handmade, bound. I was writing on notebooks that were handmade, hand wired, because they wanted everything to, like, I had to use tools that were only available during the time. But they wanted everything to feel right, from the music to like the block parties to the microphones, all of it made, found, refurbished from that era. And it was just such a beautiful thing to be a part of. I felt like I was holding the triangle in an orchestra. I just had a small part, but there were so many hands that went into building it that it was just a beautiful work of art, from the homages to the different paintings and the films. Like, it was just a love letter to all things nerdy, and each episode was so emotional. Like, I'm glad that they were weekly, because I couldn't binge watch that. Like, after The Basement, and there was just so much going on, so many brilliant actors, from Journey Smollett to Jonathan Majors. Like, each one of them played their part, and just to be around it, I just kind of, I had to just breathe and say I belong here. I was feeling a lot of, a little bit of anxiety, like, do they know that they let me in here? Do I belong in this place? But a lot of times that's just, as an artist, you feel like you don't belong, you're not good enough, you're not enough, where you could always be better, because there are just so many incredible creators out there. But if you're being hired and you're doing the job, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And a lot of times people may not believe in what it is that you're doing, and it's not because they don't believe in you, but they don't believe in the path of art. Because there is no direct path. You can go to school, but that doesn't guarantee that you'll get a job. You have to wear a lot of hats. You have to not only be an artist, you have to be a businessman, you have to be a marketing agent, you have to know how to create videos, you have to know how to fill out an invoice, have to know how to manage your time. And that's something that every artist struggles with, but you have to keep yourself to task. And working on a production like that, sometimes I had to stay up for 26 hours because a scene got moved up. They had to make a hand-drawn comic for the next morning, 6 a.m., and it cost thousands of dollars just to be able to move all of these pieces in place. And they can't wait on me. So I was like, well, if I want the job, I've got to stay up. So I stayed up and I did it because I really wanted to. I was like, this is what I want. Like, this is what I have been fighting for. This is what I've been spending day after day, drawing hands, drawing perspective, doing those things that are not fun because it's work. At the end of the day, it's going to be work. But the difference between doing this and a 9-to-5, which there's nothing wrong with, is after I'm done with it and after I'm paid and after it's finished, I'm proud. And no one can take that from me. Never. Like, if I don't draw another thing for the rest of my life, like, I don't have to feel like I've wasted any time. And for all of those artists out there who feel like, oh, well, it's too late, I used to draw back in the day and now I don't do it now, or there was this thing that I wanted to do but I'm too old. No, the time is right now, because you're only going to get better the more you do it. Yes, you could have been really amazing if you had kept up, but you can't just keep sobbing over mistakes that you've made in the past. You only have right now and what's ahead of you. and not all of us have moments ahead of us, so get to work. We need your stories. They're important. The details of your life. Yes, everything's been done, but your experience, what you make, who you are, what you've seen, what you feel. There's somebody who needs that. They need to see that they are important and their story is important, and sometimes that's through you. So if you don't see it, if you don't feel represented, or what it is, your unique combination of experiences is not represented in media, don't get mad, get to work.
I'm inspired myself right now. I'm serious. Thank you so much for your time. You look amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm going to continue to support.